Hello, this is Evan here from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, January 27th, 2021. We are intraday right now, and this is our weekly swing trade ideas video where we bring you stocks based on a variety of discretionary, technical, and quantitative patterns. I think we're actually only going to focus on some technical scans today and spend a little time just kind of thinking about what's going on here in the market. As always, these videos are sponsored by our partners over at Investors Business Daily. We curate our long ideas from their stock lists. You can get access to their stock lists with a link in the description of this video. So before we dive into the trade ideas, I just want to touch on the market because we have fairly volatile session here. So if we look at the Qs, we're down 1.79% at the time of recording this, of course. By the end of the day, who knows where we'll be, but we're down almost 2% in the Qs. We're down in the S&P 500, just about the same, 1.71%. So it's a pretty rough day out there, but I want to draw your attention to what's kind of going on under the hood here, because if we look at something like the IWC, so this is the microcap index from the Russell. And so you can think of this, even smaller than the Russell 2000. A lot of people look at Russell 2000 as sort of that small niche here. But if we look at the IWC, you can see this is actually up 1.5% today. And there are, 1,200 stocks in this index here, and they are microcaps. So you can see that it is a mega cap, large cap, and sort of, market cap weighted sell off today, but we do have these very extreme sort of pockets of strength going on. Obviously, a story in itself, which we're not going to get into here, is GameStop. And you can actually even see the retail ETF today, XRT. You basically have, I'm simplifying here, but you basically have GameStop, really, helping fuel the retail ETF and a lot of these other stocks. So it's pretty wild out there. But that's kind of the flows that we're seeing right now, and we have lots of earnings to digest here into the afternoon, into the end of the session. So let's steer back on track here. This video is focused on trade ideas, and let's get to it. We're gonna all focus on technical trade ideas. So this comes from our TC2000 scan store. If you're a TC2000 user, you can head to our website and take a look at some of these scans, download them yourself, and use them on your workstation. So the first here is Chewy, CHEWY, and this one here is hitting our pullback strength scan. You can see we've got a stock, if we zoom out here, that's been just chugging along higher here. This is in the retail side. And notice today's bullish engulfing bar, and it's also, an expansion in range. It's probably going to be heavier volume by the end of the session, and it's obviously outperforming the market very nicely today. I think earnings aren't until April, so we get some time here, and looks like a pretty actionable, quality, looking technical setup here. So pullback strength scan, Chewy on the daily chart, working higher as we speak. Joe is number 2, so JOE, that is the ticker. This is in the real estate side. This is hitting our engulfing. I think this is hitting a couple of scans of ours. Bullish engulfing bar. I think this was a gap down recovery candidate as well. But essentially here, if we zoom out, again, you've got this very strong stock that has been just ripping higher. It has recently consolidated. It gapped down today. Looked like it was ready to kind of sell off, break support, and spill over. But lo and behold, we have a rally underway, and we are looking to kind of get back over this 44-45 area. So if it can hold in here, if it can find some follow through, this one looks pretty interesting to the long side. Number 3 is NVAX. So this is Novavax, and we talked about this one back on, wasn't last week, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, right at the start or middle of January, second week of January. And I just want to highlight it again because it's basically even tighter now in its consolidation. So we essentially talked about this having, again, very, very strong 2020. Since July of 2020, it went sideways here, had this little drive off of the lows, and we're kind of just in this holding pattern right in here. Nice and tight, attempting to put in some type of, kind of higher low structure here. And, the ideal bull case is obviously a breakout higher, retest of these highs up around the upper 100s. And so that blueprint, that map is still on track. We haven't had a breakout yet, so of course, kind of the old saying of no trigger, no trade. So, we're just still chopping sideways. It can obviously fail, at which point, if it just starts to roll over from here, then again, no trigger, no trade. So if it starts to, lift over, 140 or so, if you want to cheat, 150 or so, if you want to give a little more confidence, that's what's going to get it going here, NVAX. Next up, and this is hitting our gap down recovery scan. That's how it kind of came back on our radar. Next up is, let's see here. That's not it. What do we got? We got one more here that I jotted down, and let's try Fate. Can't read my own handwriting. There it is, Fate. So this one here was hitting our pin bar scan. So this scan in particular looks for these pin bar formations where you got these long tails at the bottom. Ideally, they come at some interesting spots, and in this case, I think we do have an interesting spot here, kind of peaking below this prior pivot back in early January. A little bit of structure here from December as well, but peaking below and then reversing and starting to move up. It's also been down about 7 or 8 days in a row, so that also helps. So it looks like Fate here could see a little bit of a bounce into the coming days. And last but not least, HL also hitting our pin bar scan. And all these names, gap down recovery scan, pullback strength scan, these are the names of the scans that are on our website. So that's kind of the terminology I'm using there. But on this pin bar scan for HL, it's a gold mining stock. You can see again kind of coming at an interesting spot, coming right back down, testing kind of the bottom end of this multi-month range, and where support has previously been demonstrated, and it is bouncing once again, and it is down multiple days in a row. So this type of pattern here, usually lends itself to a multi-day bounce, but of course needs follow through, and it needs to actually hold on the session. So that's it. That's what I got for today's video. Surprisingly, everything on the bull side, even with the sell-off we're seeing today, I was expecting to see just a ton of setups on the short side, and I saw a lot more actually on the long side. Reversals like we looked at, and those, pullback high tight flags. I think on the short side, look no further than, again, the mega cap, bigger indices or stocks. Those are the ones that are suffering a bit, and still not a whole lot of technical damage at this point, but that could easily change. So that's what I got for this week's video. As always, thank you for tuning in and watching. I'd love to know which of these is your favorite. What are you watching today? Any trade ideas you'd like to share? Leave a comment below. Obviously, I'm not looking for comment section to turn into just pumping certain stocks, but if there's a good reason, if there's a good technical setup, something that you like or are watching, I'd love to hear it below in the comment section. So that's it for me. Thanks as always, and we'll be back on Friday for the weekly market recap.